feel like I would love to be able to take some segment, and we're just talking, but there's
Yeah.
some segment of this that I think would be great as part of our storytelling as we go forward. And of course, you would decide what we would, of course, we'll be selective about what we do, but I want to make sure that we
Oh
capture
yeah, absolutely. And I talk about this almost daily, so it's ingrained in me
great.
to be able to put this into the project. But
Yeah.
yeah, ultimately, Alabama youth and specifically Alabama youth, we are suffering and have been suffering from a lack of exposure and a lack of modern resources. Our educational system is not evolving fast enough with the times, with the potential career paths, with this generation of kids are way more creative, way more expressive. We need more vocational opportunities for them, and stop trying to force them down the rabbit hole of college. A lot of them, are would be first generation, college attendees or graduates. But we're seeing in society that that is not the only option anymore.
Right.
Nor has it ever been the only option. But
Exactly.
we have adopted that mentality, and it's forcing a lot of kids to think that to exist within a realm of limited options, and
Yes.
in a world where their options are exponential, and it's just doing a disservice to them to not only be exposed to the plethora of ways that they can survive and make money and take care of their families, but to have it dangled in your face every day through social media and the internet, and then not having a means of actually getting to that.
Yes.
We're dealing with physical imprisonment of our bodies, but we're also dealing with the mental imprisonment of our minds.
Yes.
And the intersection of that is creating, imagine putting a hungry pit bull in a cage and dangling meat in front of the cage. That dog is eventually going to have a psychotic breakdown, and it is going to do whatever it can to get out of that cage.
Yes.
And what we're seeing in a lot of these kids is that same type of breakdown. I see these guys making money. I see these guys living a lifestyle that I want to live.
Yes.
They're no different than me. Why can't I do it? How can I do it?
Yes.
And so, crime prevention, the only way to prevent a crime is to help people make better decisions.
Yes.
Um,
Well, and
to make better
to
choices.
make them believe that the choice that they have these same options as everyone else, and really create those access points for them.
Yes. And so it's a multi-layered approach because it's a multi-layered problem.
Yes.
And one of the things that really frustrates me is when people act like this solution is so singular. We didn't get to this stage overnight.
Right.
We didn't get to this stage through one singular act or event. There were several, layers of obstacles that were designed, implemented, executed, and are continued to be, executed to our demise,
Yeah.
and we have to work equally as hard, if not harder, to counteract those, obstacles that have been put in place. And it's emotionally taxing. um, Being from this community, being a father, and seeing some of the cyclical, kind of stuff continue to happen without support from the powers that be, City Hall, et cetera, because it doesn't look good to fund the bad youth. It doesn't look good. There are no optics around putting money in the detention center to do anything other than continue to incarcerate more kids, right? And so we're doubly challenged with how do we make this make sense to people to want to support. And ultimately, these guys, they're kids. Their records are sealed when
Yes.
after they do their time. They have a second chance at life. And so, how many of us wish we had second chances as kids?
Yes.
And they're getting that. And in most cases, they're getting a second chance while having to return back to the community and environment that molded them and coerced them essentially into making those bad decisions. So how are we weaponizing these kids to go back to their environments with
Yes.
better protection, better shield, better armor, and a renewed sense of self and identity,
Yes.
to fight, these distractions and these different things that we don't have control over when they leave the detention center.
Right.
So
But
yeah.
how do you think the art, like, let's talk about the art though, like that artistic expression
Yeah, I
and the
mean,
skills that they're acquiring, how does that change them? Because then they're going back into the environments that they came from. So does this create an opportunity for something different for them?
yeah, so on a career path, we're absolutely, helping expose and educate them into different career paths. But what I feel is even more impactful is the ability to help, integrating artificial intelligence in this way and in this space, to me, is one of the most important things, because they're able to create imagery that normally they would have to go to school, for several years to learn how to do. Um, developing the hand, skills to draw and paint, developing the digital skills to be able to manipulate images. They can kind of shortcut and generate an image that a year ago they wouldn't have had the ability to do. And so, in terms of like expanding, imagination,
Yeah.
a lot of these kids, there's they're flooded with so much, media and content through social media and TV now, that the Black child's imagination is almost diminished, unfortunately, from what
Mhm.
I experienced as a kid to what I'm seeing, these kids at the detention center express. Um, we got 12-year-olds that have had a hard time imagining art outside of death, uh, imagining art outside of guns and blood and even satanic, imagery and references. It's just and so we're executing a curriculum while also building and editing it as we go, right? Because one of the things I had to ban was, no gun imagery, no guns, no blood, no gore, no devils, um, and so we're having to force them into thinking differently and thinking more broad. I'm telling them, think of your favorite cartoon that you used to watch when you grew up. Think of your favorite color, your favorite smells. How would you imagine your community, you know, outside of poverty? What does your utopia look like? And so these are some of the ways we've had to engage them, to think outside of the norm and outside the box that not only many of them exist in, but many of them have placed themselves in.
Yeah.
And so we have to actively work to break that stigma and break those boundaries a lot of them have placed on themselves.
So how do they respond to that? Because yeah, it's a shift, right? And however they came to arrive at those particular images, how do you lead them to shift to start thinking about things that are more uplifting for
It's
Black
it's
and
a,
brown
it's a
people?
balance between empathy and real talk. You know,
Mhm.
um, these kids have already been desensitized to a lot of things. And so it's no point in us sugarcoating with them.
Right, right.
We remain respectful. but we give it to them raw. You know, I talk to them as I would my own children. You know, listen, this is real. You know, this is life. Y'all are experiencing the consequences of poor decisions and where that can lead you. And luckily, you're in an environment where, and at an age where you do have a second chance at life. But leaving here and turning 18 and repeating some of these same mistakes, you're not going to be in a detention center where you got 24/7 monitoring and all of this kind of shit. You're going to the county, you know, you're going to prison, and that's a whole different ball game. And so, is this really the life you want? You know, um, you've experienced a taste of it now, and going back into the world, how are you going to maneuver differently, knowing this and ceasing to exist are the only options available by continuing down this road. Um, and so a lot of them are interested in rapping and recording music, and we allow them to exercise that, and we encourage them to exercise that medium because it also opens up other avenues of thought and conversation. We're working with them through creative writing, and even in the process of them developing their AI designs for this calendar, grammar and writing is very much part of this process as well, because they're having to create the prompts to the computer and the system in a way that the computer can engage and understand. And so a lot of them, we have to correct them. You can't use abbreviations. You have to use proper English, and there's a structure that this has to follow in order for the computer to interpret and generate the images that you want to return. So to the layman, they might look at this as, oh, these are just some kids in the detention center doing some stuff on the computer. It's way deeper than that, yeah, I would love to, utilize, some of this perspective in the summary for this calendar, as well as in the promotion of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so as you're explaining that, then the thought that comes to me is the question that I would love to see answered visually is, how do you define joy? Because what you described is not joy. And when you talk about, the environments that they come in, and you think about the senses that they have, and you think about it could be the smells that bring them joy, and how would they visualize that? It could be about the things that they touch, like if there are animals, or if there's clothing or fabric, or whatever it is, a warm space, or whatever that is, like using the senses to be able to articulate what joy would be for them, to bring them back, to be able to bring them back visually to a time when they've had a moment of that, to be able to articulate that, and then to be able to represent that visually could be really beautiful.
Absolutely. And we've definitely been incorporating that into the thought process of these images. Our instructor, Tim, he's very good with them. He's a creative from this community as well. In the first few weeks, before we even got into generating images, were just discussions, and that really helped lead the ideation of these images. And that's why I think so much of what we originally planned for is being, represented in these images. And also we've seen a pivot a bit, in terms of like really defining what this is, what it looks like, and how we roll it out, right? And I'm really happy with where we are with it, and looking forward to seeing it finalized, and even giving the kids a copy of the calendar, like, hey, y'all create, have it up on the walls in the detention center, for them to see a physical product that they helped make, that's empowering and will definitely create some sparks and waves in the process.
Yes, I love that. So, I mean, maybe that it's the Realizing Joy 2025 calendar or
And
something like that.
the reason why I like realize
Hmm.
is there's also, realize to me is kind of an umbrella, right? And then, we could break down the different, ways of realization throughout each month,
Yes,
and
yes.
joy could potentially just be 1 month. And we have the image in addition to a short blurb,
Hmm.
that correlates the two. Uh,
Yes.
so I'll look at using my buddy Chat GPT and and
Yes.
look at generating some ideas around
Yes.
how we can kind of roll that, what are, 25, 24 different, um, adjectives or points of thought that, fall upon the realization and,
Yes.
especially for this category. So yeah, I think I'll do some more kind of homework on that end and also look at developing some cover drafts,
Okay.
just with the ideas we talked about
Mhm.
today and
Yeah.
look at getting you something over, by the end of the week.
Okay, that's great. And even, like realize as in the eyes and what is seen
Mm,
could
mm,
also be,
mm,
it could be a play on that word and that idea of perspectives as well. Like what angle is someone looking at things from?
mm. Realizing real eyes.
Hmm. Possibly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you could, well, I guess you need. I don't think I need much from you right now. I think we just need
Okay.
to lock in on, the titling and uh,
Yes.
cover. Once we decide on the cover, I could put it in a mock-up form, so
Yes.
it's gonna kind of, look like a calendar sitting on a table, or hanging on the wall,
Yes.
and we can use that, in the promotion as well.
Okay. That would be great. And so I set the launch event for the 30th of September is virtual. So I'm going to
Okay.
send you over the link. I'm send you all over you and Jaman over the link so that you guys can share it. And, obviously I hope you all will come because then you can talk a little bit more to the attendees about the Flourish and then also about this project. And then the other artists who are participating are going to be there as well, and then the broader community. And because people are from all over the country, then we're going to have a lot of folks. And then, I've been circulating the press release. And so, my goal is to really get as much visibility as possible. So hopefully it will, the goal is to make sure we all get some great support. And I want to be able to when we're ready to get the calendars ordered so people can get those ready so people can start ordering them. It doesn't have to be on September the 30th, but but of course we'll be able to say this is where things stand. We'll be able to show the cover, of course, even before then, and then keep going from there. Still doing the crowdfunding. People are contributing. Everybody who gives $25 or more will receive a calendar. So we've already got people who are going to receive the calendar. We're building up the orders for that. So, and that's sight unseen. So as soon as we have a cover, we can share it. I know even more people are going to be really excited about that. So,
Absolutely.
and I mean, it makes me feel good to be participating in this way, to be able to bring to light what the work is and the
For
impact,
sure.
and
Absolutely.
hopefully being able to even, find ways to, create opportunities for, the artists once they are come out and to get back into society, creating those
Absolutely.
opportunities.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if there's anything else you need from me, let me know. And if there's any other way I can support, let me know. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Awesome. Oh, and where are you based? You're not
I'm in
in
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale? Okay, great.
Yeah,
We may
yeah.
have to work on getting you up here to Birmingham so we can, get you to come by the detention center, meet Monique Greer. She's the director there.
Yeah.
She's a best person possible to be running that program. Would love to get some photo ops and stuff like that. So you let me know if you can make it up here.
I'm gonna have to, between you all and Bettina, who connected me with you all. Bettina and I went to college together. That's
Oh
how
wow,
I
okay.
know her, and we got
Yes.
connected. And then one of the artists who's working on the cards is there as well. Yogi Dada, do you know
Yeah.
her? Yep. So she's working on the cards. So I was like, okay, I got a whole
Yeah, you
Birmingham
got to come on
contingent.
up to
I gotta
Birmingham.
come. I have to come. So I'm gonna make plans to come. I'm gonna figure that out soon.
All right,
Definitely.
cool. Well, looking
Okay.
forward to it.
Me too. All right. Well, thanks so much. I am so excited. So let me know if you need anything else, but I'll look for something from you later in the week. It's Tuesday. Okay, good. So,
Yeah, look
yeah,
for something from me by Friday.
okay.
Yeah.
That'll be perfect.
All right.
So what are your other projects? Are you like, what else are you working on?
So I'm a creative director, and
Yes.
my passion and more lucrative focus has been in film, and
Yes.
so I'm just locked in my third documentary for the year.
Oh,
It's around environmental and land justice for a family in Conecuh, Alabama.
okay.
Who had their land essentially stolen by Alabama Power. Um,
Right. Hers.
Rightful ownership and the policies that need to be implemented